My sister said our dog was dying, then I caught her mixing something into his water. My sister Maya was the perfect kid in our town. Straight A's, student council, always volunteering with animals. Adults loved her, and she already had early acceptance to veterinary school. So in my house, she could do no wrong. I'm 2 years younger, and I mostly stayed in her shadow. Last spring, our dog Charlie got sick, and that's when I realized the perfect thing was just a mask. Charlie was a 12-year-old golden retriever. Old, but still playful. He loved walks, still chased a frisbee, and would beg for food like it was his job. Then one day he started throwing up and wouldn't eat. He got weak fast, lost weight, and spent hours on his bed whimpering. Mom called vets, but the next openings were days away. Maya stepped in like a hero. I volunteer at a clinic, she said. I can get him seen faster. She took Charlie alone and came back saying the vet found aggressive stomach cancer. She said it was spreading, and the treatment would cost thousands we didn't have. Then she cried and promised to use her college savings to pay for chemo. Mom hugged her, and Dad kept saying, "You're such a good girl." The next day, Maya started telling everyone, like it was her story to share. She talked about Charlie at the shelter and on the phone, and people praised her for being so brave. I asked for the paperwork from the visit, and she smiled and said, "It's complicated. Don't stress." When Dad suggested a second opinion, Maya snapped, "We don't have time. He needs treatment now." I wanted to believe her, but Charlie's symptoms didn't make sense. He'd be barely alive one day, then the next day he'd trot around like nothing happened. The weird part was when Maya was gone, he was usually better. When she was home, he'd suddenly crash again. Once I filled a fresh bowl of water in the kitchen, and Charlie drank like he was thirsty. Maya walked in, saw him drinking, and said sharp, "Stop! He can only have what I prepare." Charlie backed away from her and hid behind Mom's legs. That's when I stopped telling myself I was imagining it. Maya got even more controlling. She insisted Charlie needed a strict diet and measured meds, and she wouldn't let anyone else feed him. "You'll mess up the dose," she'd snap at Mom. She started preparing his food and water in the basement, saying she needed quiet to measure everything. If I came near the stairs, she'd tell me to back off. She also started checking where I was going, like she wanted to know when she'd be alone. One Saturday morning, I told her I was leaving for soccer practice. Then I circled back through the side yard. I heard clinking in the basement, like bottles tapping, and the air smelled sharp, like cleaner. I pulled out my phone and hit record. I went down the stairs quietly and saw Maya crouched by Charlie's water bowl with a small syringe. She wasn't giving medicine in his mouth. She was pushing clear liquid into the water. Charlie stared at the bowl and didn't drink. Maya whispered, annoyed, "Come on," then stirred the water and shoved the syringe into a box behind the water heater. She grabbed the bowl and went upstairs acting sweet. I waited, then opened the hidden box. Inside were piles of used syringes and bottles of household chemicals like ammonia and glass cleaner. I filmed it all, then put everything back exactly how it was. That night I confronted her in her room. "What are you doing to Charlie?" Her face went blank. No tears, no panic, no excuses. She just stared at me like I was nothing. "I'm proving I can save him," she said. "Do you know how amazing this looks for vet school? The girl who handled a rare case at home. I already wrote about it." I told her she was hurting him, and she shrugged. She explained she was using tiny amounts of cleaning products to create symptoms, then stopping so he'd get better. That way it looked like her care was working. "He's old anyway," she said. "This way his life means something." I walked out and went straight to our parents with my phone. Mom didn't want to watch it first. Dad kept saying there had to be an explanation. Then the video played, and the room went dead quiet. Maya rushed in and shouted that I faked it. She tried to grab my phone, and Dad shoved her hand away. She switched stories fast, saying maybe Charlie got into supplies by accident, saying I was jealous, saying I always hated her. Mom was crying. Dad's face looked like it turned to stone. Charlie started whining again, and I couldn't stand it. We wrapped him in a blanket and drove to an emergency vet across town, not the clinic Maya used. They took blood and ran tests while we waited. When the vet came back, she said they found traces of multiple household chemicals in Charlie's system, in levels that don't happen by mistake. She looked at Maya and said she was required to report it. A little later, an officer and an animal control worker walked into the room, and Maya finally stopped pretending. Now my family is blaming me for exposing her. Was I wrong for it?